Welcome, podcast fans. It's time for the What's Up Bro podcast show presented by j&j Production Studios, the home for all your entertainment needs. All kinds of great topics discussed every week, a variety of different themes offered, special guest appearances, prize giveaways, and so much more. Stay tuned. And now, here are your hosts, Sam Crow and Big Hoss.
Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to another brand new episode of the show. The show where we like to feature a lot of great people. You guys have seen it. We've been doing a phenomenal, tremendous series. If you've missed it, make sure you check it out. Because we've had a lot of great people that have reached out in the horror community, we've kind of self-titled this little series. We call this 1001 Cryptic Tales, a spooktacular horror series, which does feature fine folks, actors, directors, producers. We've had effects people of all sorts come on, and again, the idea being is to get to know the minds, the inner workings of these great folks. We're all big fans of cinema, so we've seen a lot of films, but what actually happens, what goes on, what makes them work, the whole bit. And tonight we continue on. We have another special interview. Joining us in studio tonight is James Dean. James, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
No, hey, I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here, and thank you. Yeah.
No, we're looking forward to talking. So,
to see you again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a first time for me. Ember has had the pleasure before. I was not there for that, so this is a first for me. But it's really exciting for all of us too. So, for those that are new or coming in, so tell us a little about background. So, who is James Dean? What is it? What do you do? And where do you come from? Anything you want to share, but just a little bio about yourself.
Yeah. So, I'm an indie filmmaker out of St. Louis, Missouri. We've been at it for, I guess, about 10, 11 years. But we started making feature films around 2020.
Okay.
Not the best time to try that, but we were in the middle of our first film actually when everything kind of shut down.
Pandemic.
But,
wow.
Yeah. It was a challenge. And now we are in post-production on our fourth feature film. And
oh wow.
We've been pushing pretty hard. Very hard actually.
That's good.
I'm really bad at like diverting the conversation like right off the bat. So this is what you can expect from me. But like, one thing that's really interesting is I pushed very, very hard for almost a year straight between like raising funds, pre-production, writing, and then actually shooting the film. Sure. And like the last we wrapped like late April on the film, this new one. Okay. And it's a tribute to like Giallo films. And like for the first time in like a year, I was able to sit down and actually take a breather. And when you're going that hard for that long, it's so weird. Like you have to like readjust to not putting in, like I was probably between my regular work and the film, probably putting in like 80 hours a week,
Wow. Yeah.
For about a year. And some of it can be pretty damn stressful if I'm being honest. Yeah,
no, we got it.
So I've been catching up on TV lately, which is kind of nice. So
there you go. It's nice to have a little downtime, right? I mean, when you're, I kind of make this joke where I'm like, I have to wonder to myself, for those that work behind the camera, when you actually have time to sit down and view it from the other side, it's got to be a nice little change of pace because there's no pressure, stress. You're not running things, making sure it's going. You actually get to enjoy the entertainment for a change, as opposed to like have to make sure the shots are right, this is going well, and so forth. So.
It's always good to have me time.
Yeah. Everybody needs it. I mean, we're all human. We all have our vices. We all have things that we like to obviously unwind with. Obviously life is stressful as it is. And that's a great thing that, you're pushing through that. Like, how do you, is it pure adrenaline? Like what keeps you going? Cause that's a lot to do to.
Well, I have, I think, a really strong work ethic, just in general. So I'm 45. I didn't touch a camera until I was 34. Okay. But I've loved films my entire life. I mean, I was the guy that would go and rent movies. From like 10, 11, I would walk up behind my parents' house. There was a rental store, and we would walk up there. We knew everyone. My mom gave me like the free pass. And what I mean by that is, yes, James can rent anything as long as it's not in the back room. So I'm sitting there renting, like movies that, most kids 10, 11 would not be watching, like Hellraiser and, some of the more graphic ones.
Sure.
but I've always had a love for movies, obviously. But so to get back to your question, not just completely bypass.
No, that's okay. No, that's fine.
Yeah, in my 20s, I was working I've been self-employed my entire adult life, and I was working sometimes 100 hours a week, but it was for money, and money's the dumbest thing to pursue in life. Unfortunately, it took me to 34, 35 before I figured that out.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, I learned that real quick.
And so now when I do have to kind of double down and put in 40 hours a week just to what I love, it doesn't feel as much like work. I mean, it is, and it is tough. And there are times where it's like, wow, I have to kind of remind myself the why I'm doing it.
Yep.
Because sometimes it's very stressful, and sometimes there's different personalities, and there's on this new film, we probably had upward of 60 different people working on it at different times. We just to give you an idea, we had 3 days to shoot a police station, and I rented a venue that without getting into the weeds, I rented a venue where we had to move in and set the actual venue with 5 desks and a bunch of chairs and a conference room and an office space. And so I had to bring in the personnel to do that. And a lot of them had to be a lot of them had to be volunteer because we just didn't have the budget in place.
Right. Yep.
And so we had to set it all up. We had to shoot for 2 days and then take it all down. And that includes basically getting the U-Haul, bringing it from my garage to the location, coordinating all of that. It was so much,
Wow.
And that was just 3 days out of we shot a total of 26, 27 days so far.
Wow.
We're wrapped on the film, but we will have a couple pickup days.
Okay.
So mostly practical effects, and there's a few things that we have to get just to fill in the timeline for the edit, but that's pretty standard with movies.
Yeah, no, that makes
you
sense.
must have a really big garage to have all that equipment. I mean, you had a big kitchen from the last time when you were walking around. You were making me nauseous that day, but you do have a nice looking dog. I love the dog.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he's not. Well, I took him for 2 walks today, and the last one was 2 miles. So
he's tired
because he's a crackhead. Well, I mean, literally before we jumped on here, I was playing with him because he wanted the attention,
Sure.
Right.
But I have a 2-car garage, and it's completely packed right now with stuff that we still I need to get rid of because I'm never going to use 5, 6 desks and all these chairs and Yeah,
great for that moment, but now in the future,
Facebook auction or Facebook marketplace.
Funny enough, I ended up, it's these little things like this that people don't think about, but it'll be on screen for a few, maybe upward of 5 minutes, 6 minutes in the movie, but maybe a little more, maybe up to 7 or 10 minutes because we are in the police station for a bit in the movie, and I spent months finding and scouring Facebook Marketplace for free work desk, but then I'd have to go and get them and bring them back. And,
you got to pick them up. Yep.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that.
Went into it.
Oh yeah. No, for sure.
What is it now? I know we ask this a lot, and we ask this, and I'm just curious, from the different standpoints, because everybody has a different answer. So it's kind of a generic sort of a question, but. How for you, because obviously your take on it, what do you do? How do you do it? How do you get yourself into doing this? I mean, obviously people always, when they want to pursue something, they're there's so many factors, variables involved. A lot of times people talk themselves out of it because they kind of psych themselves out. They have these goals and these dreams. We all do, but not many of us pursue them because for obvious many reasons of it. There's other things in the way. Real life gets in the way. It's not practical. There's different excuses that come up. But what do you say? What would you share to someone if they want to do this? Just taking that chance. We've heard a lot of different answers, but what do you say when you think about that, or someone asks you that kind of question?
I am a very positive, very I try to be very motivational and try to be very inspirational. But the easiest answer is shit or get off the pot. Either do it or don't do it. Yeah, the likelihood of your first project being dog shit is very high. The likelihood of your 5th project being not so good is really high. But what happens is you start getting better and better, and you start attracting more and more people that are talented. And, filmmaking is not like a solo experience. It's not a solo endeavor. I mean, you can, but it's very, very rare.
Right.
And I think being a good filmmaker or a good director, a good producer, is about, from like a management perspective, it's about bringing the best people around you. And you don't have to be the best at filling the gaps, practical effects or set design or any of those things, or even with the camera. If you're bringing in the best people you can around you, it's going to show. And that'll also make you better.
Mm-hmm.
When you end up being in the room with people that are very talented, you either try to raise the bar yourself and try to live up to those expectations, or you kind of look like a fool,
Yeah. No, that's a great way to put it. Sure.
Yeah, and like I had someone that actually lent a hand on set, and he has been texting me a little bit here and there about wanting to do his first short film.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't had a chance to read the entire script. I told him I would. That's actually what I'm going to do after this, probably. But
okay.
Just the first page, I will say his first script, at least the first page, is light years ahead of what my first script was. Mine was horrific. It was bad, So if you're wanting to get involved with doing these things, start doing them. Like, it sounds simple, and it is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Right. I tell every actor, especially when they're starting out, whenever they ask me for advice on how to get better, I tell them to go join. Even if you want to only do film, I tell them to go join a theater group, because what you're going to do is you're going to keep performing night after night. And then you're going to make more friends and more people in that like realm. And even if that's not what you're interested in, you are going to refine your craft by doing that, so keep at it, keep practicing, keep moving. People often say I have a great idea, but I don't know how to pursue it. And write your first draft, write a vomit draft. Yeah, it's probably going to suck. That's okay. You rewrite these things anyway. Don't make the first thing you write. Rewrite it, send off for notes, rewrite it again. It's a process,
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a great way to look at it. And I mean, it's kind of experience for me personally. I said when we started endeavors doing these type of things, like doing the shows, like we got a whole bunch of shows that we do. Obviously it was difficult in the beginning. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what you're going to do. I recently, for myself personally, it was kind of in the back of my mind, I'm taking that trip down the voice acting role thing just to kind of see. I kind of had the bug there, so I'm like, you know what, you only live once too, as they say, so why not try, go for it. Because we see, I think this is the thing, and I don't know how you feel this too. And like I said, I don't ever like to bring competition or things into this for that nature, because I think we all have a right to be successful in our own way. I know, obviously, they say in Hollywood, in the filmmaking, especially, and anything in sports, anything, there's always competitiveness somewhere. Everybody's going to compete to a level. But I think, like in the case, I always see it in a personal take of, I see all these people doing things. Like I've growing up when I was in my 20s and even younger, like I had all these things I wanted to do, and I'm like, I never got to them. And I see other people doing them. Like, you see all these people doing these trends, these content creators doing stuff, for instance, or, anything you see on YouTube, or, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what am I sitting on my hands for? I mean, no, there's no guarantee of success. And we always say too, success is how you measure it based on what your goals are. But if you're afraid to take that chance, and I tell people this all the time now, I'm like, you know what? If you have something you want to go for it, because what's the worst that's going to happen? I mean, I'd rather look back and say, yeah, I tried to do it, maybe it wasn't successful, rather than sitting there going, gee, I wish I would have done that. And then rocking away later going, back when I was younger, I could have tried that. I could have pursued that. I was close, but I talked myself out, all those negative things. But, I think it's just a society thing too. I think it's part of the culture that, we see in our country here and parts of the world. And one of the things I thought was interesting too is we have another couple that's on, husband and wife, who she kind of directs. She's more of the star lead actress for that one. He directs. They do their own special effects, things like that. And they're actually working on their sequel to their previous project that they're doing. which should be released this fall. But the conversation was, they had said too, we took a great chance. The first film we did, we funded ourselves, went into debt for, but we had a project we wanted to do this. The sequel that they're doing, they actually had some funding, they had some help. But it was kind of the same thing, if you don't take a chance, these projects are never going to happen. Yep. And, you go back to even some of the greats, even some of the, I say this, like the Hollywood greats, what if these great directors, what if Spielberg didn't direct, or George Lucas, or, Quentin, all these greats, and what if these actors never pursued it? We wouldn't have like the films, the great legendary things that we've seen today. When you hear these backstories, like some of these actors, like I wanted to act, but I had to work, I had to bust tables. I think was it Tom Cruise? One of them, somebody went from New York City, busting tables, trying to be an actor, and didn't know if they could make it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it just kind of happens, but when you see those behind the scenes stuff, and you're like, it should be inspiring to other people. Like, and yes, I know these are celebrities for all intents and purposes, but we're still all human beings too. Yeah. And the idea is, like you're saying too, the positivity is if you have that goal, and everybody has a dream, you just can't be afraid of yourself to take that chance. You have to put yourself out there. Failure is always going to be there. We know in life that's just part of it. But, if you don't pick yourself back up and keep going, you maybe never will get to those points. So, which I think is great. Obviously, just the idea that you have there for that. And, again, just the grueling, you're putting the effort into it. And, I think it's really awesome. That's kind of what we're doing now. We're trying to help feature folks like you, trying to get the word out, because if we can help in any way too, that's awesome. But yeah, so what is this now, this project that you're working on wrapping there too? Like what, can you tell us a little bit more about it? Like what can we see from it? Like what exactly it is? Like, obviously it's something you've been working on for a while, but like just more detail.
So, yeah, sorry, my brain is like, there's so many things I want to say about what you just said, but
that's okay. Take your time, take it apart. Hey,
so I think you nailed it, like on the head. The older I get, I think the idea is to detach yourself from the results.
Yeah.
To be involved and be present in the creating of whatever it is you're creating. Mm-hmm. Just go for it, without any, I mean, it's so hard. It's so hard. Just to go for it. And I think that'll get you so much further in life. And it's so hard to detach yourself from the results, especially when you start taking money from people and you like, seriously, it is. And that was the other thing I was going to say really quickly. And then I can start talking about the
films by all means, go ahead.
My first film I made, I came out of pocket about $35,000.
Okay.
I cashed in and sold everything I owned, basically. I mean, like all kinds of toys and like, like I know that sounds weird, but like my Nintendo, a bunch of rare games.
They're worth,
I sold a business. I sold ladders. I sold everything I had, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, everybody involved with the film donated their time.
Sure.
So even though it was $35,000, they still all donated their time. So that was like a huge, so it's it's so tough. I want to like cap that at that, so I can kind of like pivot into talking about talking about some of the films we've made. But like,
sure, yeah, no, but that's a great point. I appreciate that. Like I said, it just accentuates the understanding of trying to encourage people. Like if you're gonna do it, it. Don't keep putting it off, because eventually that window will close where it's like you wait too long and
well, I mean, also like so. I guess to build on that, even though I said I was going to cap it,
that's okay.
To build on
that's fine.
The second film we made for less money, and everybody donated their time. And like I had one person come on and paid for craft services for the entire film.
Oh wow!
And that was like a $15,000 film. And
yeah.
It's also right now our best performing film on Tubi, which is hilarious.
Oh wow!
It's I think it's one of the best quality films we made so far because of how we went about doing it.
Sure.
And then for our third film that we shot, but it was actually our second film released, we made a total like B film. It's called Triple Xmas, and it is exactly what you think it is. It is tits and ass, and it's a psycho Santa killing people on a porn set, And it's not a porn because that's what everyone asks. But yes,
Right.
there's lots of nudity. There's lots of like goofy humor, and there's lots of gore. And like, you know, if you can't look at the poster and look at the name and know that's what you're getting into. But the reason I even brought it up is because we successfully raised close to $40,000 through crowdfunding campaigns.
Wow. Awesome.
So, you know, it's showing the trajectory of the more you make and the more you work and the more you can show that you finish these films, people will start to back you in some capacity. Now, what I'm going to tell you next is even bigger. The film that we just shot, I successfully raised around $70,000 on Indiegogo and Kickstarter. And I brought in about an additional $30,000 with private investors.
Wow.
And then I ended up putting about $30,000 of my own money into it. And when I say that, like, just to give context with that, I'll still be paying that off because like 20 of it went on credit cards, you know?
Yeah.
So I'll be paying that off for probably a year and a half or more. It's not like I'm just pulling money out of my ass and I have it sitting around. That's not who I am. That's not my level of resources. So this film has a budget of about 130, 135. And that's okay. So that's the one that we're working on now. It's in post-production. It's called My Blade Is Your Salvation.
Okay.
It's kind of a love letter to giallo films, like Italian slashers in the 70s.
Yep.
So it's like half, for anyone that's not familiar, it's like part slasher, part investigation.
Yep.
So like the 70s, like Italian films had the weirdest combination of like a reporter doing the investigation or like a blind guy and a little girl.
Yep.
I didn't think that worked so well for like modern audiences. So I kind of streamlined it and made it detectives. And of course that incorporates a whole other level of complication, but, yeah, so it's about a killer who is attacking sex workers, and he thinks he's cleansing them of their sins by killing them. And there's several detectives that start investigating, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm super pumped about it. You know.
Yeah.
I've been killing it in the edit, which is nice to feel because, you know, it's starting to feel like, hey, all that planning, it really starts to just make it so much easier in the edit. Like compared to the first film I edited to this one,
right?
Night and day, you know.
Yeah. I think that's really, you know, and you know, we say that whether you're making music, movies, whatever, you know, when you have a final product, obviously, you know, your fingerprints are on it because you're, you know, making this. But when you can actually see the finishing, put the finishing touches on, you know, the rough cuts go in, but you actually see the final product. It's really just that feeling of gratification of like, you made this, you put this out there. It's probably like anything, like when you sculpt a sculpture, like an artist paints a painting, you know, this is my work. And you know, I say this to people because we talk a lot of people like in the music business and in the industries and things like that, where same thing like taking a chance. You know, the problem and the flip side of that too is we had this debate once we had to show a while back, but a lot of artists, whether up and coming, wherever their status is at when they're releasing, you know, albums or putting out, you know, record, things like that, is they want to be recognized so badly that they'll do literally probably anything just to get it out there. And what that also means is they don't realize when you sign a contract with like a studio and stuff, you sign over creative control and all that stuff. So, you know, and it's sad though, because a lot of these guys and gals and these bands and independent individuals, whatever, you have such a great product there. You're doing such great, you know, some of the songs are fantastic, this and that. But when you sign over creative control there, and you know, you give your rights over to someone who could say, you know what, I'm changing this, and this, and now I can, because same thing, you said exchanging the money, you took the contract, you signed, sealed, all that stuff. But it's just so it's just such a, for lack of a better term, not depressing, but it's unfortunate. It really is, because there could be a lot more, I think, quality, a lot more great things out there if people would just stick to their own, what they have, you know, not sell out there. We had one of the guys that we talked to too said the same thing. You know, one guy who does special effects, he was working on a project. He's like, I have this project that, you know, I'm building this werewolf sculpture for one of these films, you know, I'm doing all this stuff. And I accepted a contract. I'm on a deadline. The studio is waiting for me to finish it to wrap up this film that they're doing it for. But it's like, I just don't feel. It doesn't feel like the good quality of my work. And you know what? I know I'm on a deadline. So I'm actually willing to forego the money and tell them, you know what? I'm gonna have to pull out of the project because it just does not meet my standard of my work.
Yeah.
It's nothing against them. It's nothing. He's like, I just don't want to have it where I'm not happy with it. And then I could sell it for the sake of selling it because this movie studio will buy it for their production.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to see it in the film and be like, oh, was I really that? Like, I rushed it. It was really not what I wanted it to be. And I did it because of a deadline. I did it because of money. Same thing with a lot of these films. And we talked to some actors about this too, asking similar questions. But like looking at movies now, obviously we've come a long way from the 70s and 80s, like going way, way back.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a place. We asked this question too, how do you feel? I'm going to ask you this too, if you want to comment about how you feel between like, AI and green, obviously coming from green screen, like, and somebody said there's a place for it, which I agree. But finding the right balance. I mean, because still, using animatronics, using props, things I think are still important. Obviously things have advanced, but the balance of between real life as opposed to synthetic and things that are just artificially put in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not sure how you view that from a filmmaker standpoint, because everybody has their own approach and different thoughts about it. But do you see that? You think where you kind of a balance? Do you lean more towards the new tech or old school, or how do you fit in there?
I think AI somehow has become this really weird, divisive thing, and I think the bulk of people's reactions to it are very reactionary.
Mm-hmm.
And even when they make posts, I don't think they're. I don't want to like insult anybody.
No,
I don't think. Let me lead with this. I won't use AI for like any of our filmmaking.
Okay.
But by that same token, I guess I'm kind of lying because like I have used AI voice isolator to remove a fan sound.
Okay.
For like audio,
Sure.
And that's and yet I still pay someone to go in and actually clean the audio and master it for us professionally.
Okay.
But I have used that in a pinch for certain things,
Sure.
So I think it's a very fine line, and I think it is a tool. I think there's a lot of great uses for AI, especially when it comes to marketing. Mm-hmm. If I want to bounce ideas or if I want feedback on marketing ideas, I think it's phenomenal. It's an interesting thing. I don't think it serves. Again, I'm not trying to be divisive here. I don't think it serves a good purpose when you're making posters with it. And again, I get it. It's everywhere. I think it all looks the same.
Okay.
And the weird thing is, and again, this is it's very important that like, everyone understand this is just one guy's opinion.
Yeah.
Who the fuck am I? I mean, like seriously.
It is. No. Sure.
But the one thing that I find really interesting to a degree is I've seen people on my Facebook like trash AI, trash it, just say they're not going to share any posters, they're not going to do this or that, and then they'll turn around and not even realize that a poster they are sharing is AI.
Yep. Yeah.
And they're involved with it, and they still don't even realize it.
Yep. Exactly.
And again, I'm not. I am pretty good at spotting it, but I mean, let me tell you something. I'm sitting there scrolling through like Instagram or Facebook Reels, and there's this I have a husky. I was talking about him. He's a crackhead. There's a husky AI page where like the dog throws fits, and like I swear 80-90% of people don't realize it's an AI.
It's AI. Yep.
And like the first time I saw that reel, I didn't either. I sent it to my partner, and then I was like, oh, and then I watched it again. Like after watching it a few times and laughing, I was like, this isn't real.
Right.
But like, so I mean, like, I do think in the future we will see a divide. I think there's going to be people that embrace it much more. And I think especially, no matter how much you dislike it, the people that are born today are going to grow up with it.
Right.
And it's going to be just part of their experience, part of their life. So
Yeah.
no matter how much anyone dislikes it, it will be the primary form of, and it's only going to get better and better, right?
Yeah.
So people are going to keep using it. But I do think it's going to create a divide, and I do think we're going to see people like myself, not saying it's better, but I prefer practical effects. I prefer, like that's how we approach things. But I think that we're going to see a divide, and people, especially my age and older, I'd say 40 and older, 35 and older, 40, they have that, just like we do now, like people that are really big fans of 80s horror, all they talk about are like the practical effects and how they love that, and like, I love that. But I do think we're going to see that splitting off of people continuing to use. By that same token, there's a guy on YouTube who makes this series, and it's all of the imagery is AI. And he hires professional voice actors. He has professional mixers. He writes all the scripts himself. It is phenomenal. Like, it is phenomenal. So, I think he goes by Gossip Goblin. And it's like And I mean, like, I love it. Like, I watched an entire 20-minute short he released, and it is what it is. I mean, I love that he's like incorporating a lot of real people in the mix, but 10 years from now, will he have to do that, or will he do that? I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, and I agree with too, because I'm not a whole lot younger than you are, and I'll be 37, so I'm almost at that 40. But it's the whole notion too. I think it's personal preference too. It's the same thing with anybody who does music and stuff, and filmmaking is no different. Everybody has their own vision, what they want to do, what they want to use. I agree too. I think it does serve a purpose. I think in moderation it can be good, and depending on what you're using it for, I think there's like do's and don'ts maybe you should consider when implementing it in certain places. I mean, I can't say I've used a little bit too, but like I don't use it all across the board, because obviously it's just not, it doesn't feel that you can when you're creating it, as not so much as watching on the other side of it, you kind of feel like you can tell like it's not real. Like, I've seen a lot of those reels too. Like, I watch these reels going, like, first you think, yeah, it's real, and it's like, no, I see a lot of these spider reels, like these people, these huge, like, I'm like, that's not real. There's no way. Like, it's not. I mean, some of them you can tell are fake, but then there's some, it's like, especially when the guy's at the camera, he's like, and it's like the hands coming out touching. I'm like, there's no way. That thing is probably bigger than your coffee table, or there's no way. Like, you've ever seen like arachnophobia? You don't get that close. Okay.
Right.
But I also say too, in the same sense, I think it's funny, and I joke a lot of people. I joke, but I'm also kind of serious, where I always say, if the Terminator films hadn't taught us anything, if machines get too smart, same thing like Planet of the Apes, the apes, they do take over, but maybe machines more so. It could be a danger too. I'm not saying it, in the case of, for the realism, but it's just that the concept is, just like they say anything else with the problems we deal with, drugs, guns, all this stuff, the problems that we face. Adding technology in the wrong hands, it could be a really bad thing too. I guess it depends on it's like the sword wielder who wields it. You have the power, but is it for good or evil? It depends on what you choose for it. So, I think there too, the split could happen. What do you think then, as far as like from in the film industry, if that happens, is that gonna be a good shakeup for it? Is that gonna cause more trouble down the road, like for potential other filmmakers and those that want to go back old school versus new school? Like, is that going to be a major shift kind of thing, do you think?
I mean, I think in general, people are afraid of new things, and they're also afraid of things they don't understand. And I think that in itself is going to, it already has, like, that's why you see so many people that are so outspoken about AI in a negative fashion. Again, I don't have like a great love for it necessarily. So like, but at the same time, I'm not anything that's like going to evoke like a negative response from me. I don't typically like put on social media or talk about too openly. Like, it's different when we're having a conversation. Like this, I feel like I can articulate myself a little better. And I also don't have to worry about, if someone sees this and starts messaging me. I've had people like insult me when I'm talking about a movie, and like, that's cool, man. That's cool. That's your thought.
That's your opinion. Yeah, that's your viewpoint. Sure.
It really, there's really not anything someone can say to me that's going to bother me for the most part. It really, There really isn't. Do I think it's going to create a shakeup? Like a small example of something that I heard happened about a year ago or maybe 9 months ago is Tyler Perry was putting I think he was building a $300 million facility down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He canceled those plans.
And
I mean, there's a reason for that. And my guess is AI was a big contributing factor. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that kind of stuff. So I think big picture wise, not just with film, but across the board, we're about to see a lot of real human jobs just disappear, Yeah. And the bright side, let's start with the positive. I do think long term, it's going to allow us to pursue our creative artistic endeavors,
Yep.
It's going to let us play a lot more,
Yeah, sure.
On the downside, and this gets into politics a bit, which I try not to do a whole lot, but if you avoid if you avoid the specifics and you just talk about some sort of basic universal income, there is a large amount of the population that ends up being displaced because there's no work,
right?
Because corporations are making all the money because they own the AI, they own the tech, and they own the robotics performing it.
Yeah,
there will be a tipping point where people are like, nah, this is enough, and something will have to change. If it's basic universal income, something's going to have to change. So yeah, I think it's going to create a pretty big issue long term.
Yeah, I think it's hard to avoid. I think like anything else, and it's I equate it to a similar thing where anything that new. And again, I've been around. We and I both have been around for a while, so we've seen a lot. I grew up, in the '90s. Go way back. You see where the technology, all this stuff has changed. All the newest. From cell phones to computers to music to even movies. I grew up, obviously, you're probably familiar, growing up VHS to DVD to now streaming, which wasn't a thing,
for sure.
Way back when. I tell these kids, you don't know what a VHS tape was when you had to take a pencil and rewrap it when the reel got caught in the VCR.
Yeah.
You had this thing called the pause. I mean, obviously, like the TiVos and stuff do the pausing now, but we had the old, the VCR would eat the tape. We had to be careful because it rips the tape out. All these things. So when you see and obviously, I tell kids now, my joke also is, you don't know what Blockbuster is. Like I grew up around there. Like unfortunately, no one's going to know now. It's like, I feel so old now because that's like a museum thing. It's extinct.
Yeah.
But when you see these trends going forward and it's always a good thing. Like whatever the newest thing comes out, everybody's excited about it. And I always think that for people putting out new things, the intent is always good. And as I said, previously stated, it just depends on who wields the power, who uses it for what purpose. Because everything I think could be a positive thing, but not all of us are positive people, more or less. But when you see that, I think there's always going to be room for problems because you always say, my favorite line, I've heard this a lot, I use this a lot. Technology is a wonderful thing when it works. Nothing is infallible.
Sure.
So as much as people want to say, oh my gosh, this is going to erase so many problems. This newer computer is going to run like magic. It's going to clean up so many things. It's not going to have it's still a machine. People still have to figure out the bug. There's always bugs in the process. You got to figure out why do computers have updates all the time? They're trying to get better. They're trying to be more efficient.
Yeah.
If there was one universal machine that ran perfectly, everybody, number one, would have it. It would also run clockwork. You could probably run like an old Timex watch, totally going, or an Energizer, but just going.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that. So I think in that frame, even with AI, you're going to see those issues. You're going to see, and we don't know. We could speculate 1,000 different ways, and we could probably see some things that are going to happen, but things will happen. It's just, if you learn anything in life, that as good as there are good things, there's always bad things. Like there's going to be moments where not everything is always going to be that status quo where it's just going to be just right. We wish it were, we hope it would be, but there's always that something's always going to happen there. So I really could see that. And amongst other things, and it's unfortunate, like you mentioned the job market stuff too. We see a lot of these machines taking over, things taking over. And again, I love technology like the next person. I love to go to self-checkouts and check myself out and, all that kind of stuff. But then I think to myself, that's a job somebody else is not having because a machine is doing that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they do make mistakes and someone has to monitor, but you go from 30 cashiers down to 5. And then you have one, I guess you call them moderators that are there. If there's any problems, they actually have to go and, they fix it because they have the keys to do all that stuff. But it's a major influx, a major difference. And obviously economically, to get political back at you, we're struggling with a lot of things. So it's not an ideal time for that to happen. But, I think just like anything else, and if and I say this to the people trying to be positive, is we as people, doesn't matter. I've had these talks to people, like, doesn't matter your views, left, right, red, blue. I don't, I'm not saying I don't care, but I'm not caring about the arguing, the fighting about it. We're just all humans, and especially us, and Americans, we should be for Americans, not divided as a lot of us are. That's the unfortunate turnabout. And even going back to COVID did change a lot of stuff. And that was a really unique experience because most of us, I still said I would have loved to gone to like cities like Las Vegas to see what it looks like with nobody there, because it's always running. Yeah. So to actually see it with nobody like in the street, like trying to imagine what it's like. But that changes a lot of things. We learned about the social distancing, being careful. This was something that, we never saw before. This was a new thing. I don't think you had it down that way. A couple of years ago, the whole, you might have heard the Canadian wildfires that were going on where they're out of control there. Like, we had like this smoke and this smog coming down. Like, it almost looked apocalyptic with the redness of the sky. And obviously being outside, it's like acid on your skin. Like, it was incredible. But like seeing these things in addition to the tech, when you see technology where anything can read a chip, anything can, you can go, and they're talking about all these high tech stuff. And obviously smartphones have gotten even smarter than, like, my family. My parents are so old school. They had the flip phone back in the day. Like, that was impressive at one time, but now you have full computers in your hands. But I think we learned also not to be afraid of it, to embrace it. I think a lot of people, same thing we mentioned too. Why should people pursue their goals and dreams? It's the fear thing. I think too many people get in their heads. They worry about, and maybe I'm not good enough. I'm not going to make it. We hear these old things all the time. Am I smart enough? Am I techie enough? Do I possess the skills? Do I, you go on, list goes on and on. I think that's why, I don't know if you feel someone too, kind of saying that it's just so much from films too, but if that's why a lot of people just say, I'm not taking that chance just because I'd rather play it so safe that I don't try it and I don't look dumb, or I don't feel foolish, or I don't lose anything. I don't lose any financial things because I invested or whatever. But at the same time, you don't really gain anything because you're kind of like in that stale right in between. Like, you're not losing anything, but you didn't gain because you didn't try it either. So it's kind of like, it's almost like a double-edged sword kind of thing, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I think I never want to be like a gatekeeper when it comes to what people like or how they go about doing anything.
Sure.
I do have a tiny bit, like, because I love like trashy, stupid movies. Like, I love really bad movies. Like, I love them, but I also love really good movies. Like, and I mean like classic ones, and just that there was so much attention to detail. And there is this movement of sorts with like lazy filmmaking that does kind of get to me a little bit.
Sure.
But I think that does go back and kind of translates also to like what level of engagement you see with social media when you implement certain methods to promote it. Sure. And I'm talking about AI posters. I'm just going to be frank.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, I get where you're coming from. Yeah, no, for sure.
It's a little different if you are, and I mean, some people say it's not, but I think it's a little different if you have something where you're promoting an event one time. And I see people complaining about that all the time too, by the way.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But like, if you have what is going to be the calling card of your film, and you're going to represent the film, and it looks like it's AI, even if you're okay with it, and even if you don't think it's that big a deal, from a business standpoint, you're turning off probably 60 or 70% of your potential audience.
Absolutely.
Especially people who are like, the horror community is one of it is the most supportive community I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, agree. We love them. They're great.
Yeah. I mean, like the horror community, they are rabid. I'm part of the community for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, throw yourself in. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, we are rabid for and anything that's creative, that is like man-made. Like when you see that hard work put into it, you want to support. I try to support as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that to go back to the AI for a minute, I think that translates a little bit. I know some filmmakers who brag, and I'm not trying to tear anyone down. I'm definitely never going to mention any names, but if you're making feature films for 10 years and you talk about having 300 films, I mean, there's a limited amount of what you're going to be producing quality wise if you're making 300 films and in 10 years,
Oh yeah.
And that's not to say that I don't love people like Roger Corman, who produced probably 300 or 400 films, but again, that was like over 50 years.
yeah, right, exactly. Yeah,
he made schlock, and I love schlock. Like I love it, like feed me it, like put it in an IV and fucking feed me. Like
yeah, sure.
But like, it's just there does become a point where I think you decide, like, my intent with our films, and again, no one has to pursue things the way I do. That's something that I love about film also, is that there's no like one right way of doing it.
Oh yeah, of course.
But our goal has been from the get-go to just get better and better and better and put more effort, energy, time, money into our projects to try to level up,
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you always have to have a bigger budget or bigger names, but I definitely have some ideas and a couple scripts laying around that are not horror and that are smaller, more character-driven stories that are actually like drama comedies,
Yeah.
And those budgets would be much less than the film we just made,
Sure.
Now, if someone comes along and I can sell it and, raise, $500,000, would I? Yeah, I probably would spend $500,000. But, I think half of that would go towards marketing. Because, that's the one thing. If you're going to be, you don't have to be a good filmmaker. You have to be good at marketing.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to sell your films, if you want to, like, actually end up making money on them, I think there's a couple really there's a couple really good like strategies to use. Pick one very specific niche and stick in that. Now, that's not something I want to do, so that's not something I'm doing. But if I did, I think it would greatly improve my chances of making money film after film,
Sure.
And, the one that I think is really appealing to a lot of horror fans is like the B-movie kind of 80s vibes, I think that's just like evergreen,
Yeah. Well, sure.
And I think that's a big thing that you can do. So that's a big thing. The marketing is huge. And I think just like developing a fan base that'll keep coming back, but again, it's much easier when you're making the same kind of niche films.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, it's the same thing that, we say here, when you create content or you do podcasts like you do too, it's kind of a similar vibe. We've all networked together. We've all kind of shared that same belief too, that, the philosophy of it is about putting it out there. We always say you got to grind, you got to be out there. Nobody's going to there's a few people that maybe you put something out there, maybe a good show or good content, you might get big off the bat, but it's not a guarantee for everybody. You do have to put the work in. You have to grind. You have to do all that stuff. But marketing, we're putting stuff out there, trying to find those niches too, trying to find what people like, build the audience off of that and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So those are things that, and it goes across the board for anything, but those are the important details we say that people tend to neglect or they don't think about, regardless of whether they write books or they make films, they make podcasts, they make content, you have your own business, whatever. It's those little nuances that are there that are so critical. Again, same thing, like we say, people don't see what goes on behind the camera, behind the sets, like when we're producing shows stuff. You don't see that stuff. You don't realize the full commitment. You see a sliver of what the finished product is. You see what the work has produced, but you don't see the steps that it takes to get there. You know, the struggles, the how many times you have to retake and reshoot things. You know, like I tell people all the time, I always share my experience. People ask me, what was it like when we started podcasting? I said, it was not pretty. I mean, I can go back and show you the first couple rough episodes. It was not good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't go back and reflect to make me feel bad. It just shows us obviously how far we've come since then, but it's understanding it was a process that it was really, really a challenge up front, whether that was microphones quit out, computers dropped, technology, as we said, doesn't always work. And so you're banking on something to happen, or it doesn't back up. It doesn't save, we've had all kinds of things. I think, same thing. I agree too. I think if people really focus on those little other avenues and areas, not just like you could say, oh, I want to go make a movie, but there's a lot of things to that. There's a lot of factors that are involved. There's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of moving parts there. You can pick up and start shooting if you want to, but if you want the full cinematic view and you want the efforts and the big whole 9 yards, as they say, there's a lot of things you have to factor in. So I think that's a great way to look at it for many people. That's a good way to say, whatever you're pursuing and doing, always have that plan of the full picture. Don't just, I always say people, don't half-ass it. Don't go in saying, I'll figure it out, because most people don't. It's kind of like floundering in the pool. You're kind of just, swimming there. You're not going anywhere. You jump in, not knowing which way you're going to go. And then you just kind of end up treading water there. Like, you're not really making any moves. So maybe have at least, you don't have to have everything figured out, but at least some notion of where you're going, where you're taking it, that kind of thing. So at least, that kind of saves time where you have a blueprint of sorts. And regardless of if you need funding, like I have friends that want to start some businesses. I know, talk to people like, go for a plan, have an idea, take your time. If you're not content with it, don't rush it. Like trying to figure out the name of the business, trying to figure out the name of a book, trying to even don't rush the creative process. Let it come to you. It's like writing songs or writing anything else. It'll come to you. Do you want to be known for, the actual product, or just knowing, I rushed to get out? We have a friend of ours that actually have to read it. He wrote a book. It was like a 3-year project. It's a very short story. It's one of those crime drama series. It's really good. He was really proud of it. It's up on Amazon, all that stuff. And I said, we're going to buy it. We want to support you because he just put it out. And he's like, it's a good read. And it's like, he said too, I spent I think it was 2.5 or 3 years from start to finish, the concept, finding an editor, the whole bit. But he said, I'm proud of it because in the end, seeing it in my hand and holding it, the cover's done, the pages are pressed. The whole thing was worth that grind because I'm happy with it. I could have rushed it. I could have, I think he said a couple edits he had to reduce, stuff like that. Fine tune it, better to have it perfected as much as you like and then the finished product than having to go back and, change things over. So I think that's really good. I think that's incredible way to put that there. But lastly, I want to say this, just to keep good track for time. We definitely would love to have you come back. We want to chat more because, obviously, and this is going to be, we have this running series. We might actually bring some other people on board and maybe get a chance to chat with some other people in this genre too, because they want to do some more stuff. And I do want to say, first of all, too, we thank you guys very much. The horror community has been fantastic. We've had such a great response. Like, I have answered so many emails and so many meetings, and it's partially why I didn't get to meet you initially, because I was we're double dipping. So we're trying to take split meetings here and all this stuff. But it's been a really pleasure to do that. And we look forward to continue working alongside you as much as we can help. And again, we'd love to talk about, if you have anything you can send us, we can promote, or anything for the film or stuff that we can share that obviously you're all comfortable with. We'd love to do that. But we want to just give you a chance to just, again, we talked a little about your projects and stuff. If you have anybody that can connect with you or things you want to share, is there anything else that is going on that you'd like folks to know about, or can they find details about anything about the project, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we've closed down funding for My Blade is Your Salvation. But please go watch our films on streaming. Absolution is streaming on Tubi. If you type in Absolution, there's like 7 movies with that name, unfortunately, but it is the very first one. It's a revenge thriller. I think it's some of our best work, and I absolutely love it. And the performances are very strong. It's kind of like an ode to like Death Wish back in the 70s. And yeah, I love the film. And I really want as many people as possible to see that. If, that's the other thing is like our films are each one of them is so different. So like if one doesn't work for you, try a different one and maybe, Triple Xmas is it's been kicked off a lot of streaming services primarily because of how gratuitous it is. I'm going to be honest with you. But it is streaming on YouTube for free. And I think it has like 1.5 million views now on my channel. So, hey,
I definitely want to check it out. I loved, if it's anything like, I liked the recent film, Violent Night. So if it's anything similar in the context, like it was an absolute, yes, it's Christmas theme, but it's the horror theme kind of tied in and the whole, it's definitely top of my list. I will watch it because I'm really excited when you mentioned that, like, this is going to be awesome because it's just,
But, watch it in July, Christmas in July.
I love doing that. Why do we have to be, that's the thing. We got to break out of the norms. Why do we have to wait? Like, and I'm one of those too. Like, I love the horror films. I've been watching it. Why do I got to wait till October? It doesn't have to be a Halloween thing.
Not at all.
I mean,
not at all.
But that's awesome. I mean, we're really glad the success there. Again, we'll share that. If you actually too, I mean, I have to look it up. I can find the links too. But if you have links, we can share it too. We can do that just to give more people direct access. But yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming here. We would love to have you come back on, chat with us more. We have other things that we can obviously do as well. Like I said, I know you more chat with Bill. I'm not sure. We all usually give the same basic information, but sometimes we miss a few things. So but we got connected, so we'll keep in touch, obviously too.
Yeah. One last site I would plug is our site, monsterkidfilms.com, and there you can pick up the Blu-rays, which is one of the best ways to support us, honestly.
Sure. Okay.
So monsterkidfilms.com is a great way also. And also it has all the movies and the links and how to watch them streaming also. So you can go watch them streaming beforehand, and then if you love them, then buy the Blu-ray, so.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, if you again send me some bunch of stuff. I'll do some editing later. I'm gonna put all that stuff out there. We'd love to have that out for everybody. But yeah, check that out. We'll have James come back. We'll obviously share some updates. And then we'll obviously there's gonna be a whole bunch of things we want to explore. We have some fun ideas that as we get to meet a lot of you guys now and we're chatting and seeing what everybody wants to get involved. We have some plans that we want to do. So we'll definitely keep you in touch with you for that. But yeah, no, I mean, this is really awesome there. Again, we love having everybody come on. Again, you guys are doing a lot of great things, and we are trying to do our part to just be another voice to kind of get that out there. We'd love to show support back. Same thing that we do here, the positivity. Again, we really respect and appreciate what you're doing. You're kind of like the unsung heroes. Obviously, people see the big A-listers and the Hollywood types, but they don't always see the mid-tier, as we like to call them, and not to make it sound less degrading, but it's very much important. The indie films they do have their place. And I will say I have in some cases, I've seen some blockbusters, and I will say that some indie films I've actually seen are better than some blockbusters. Same thing. I won't say names just because I don't want to disrespect anybody specifically.
Sure.
But point being is that indie films, they do have their place, and I think they can be well done. And, we look forward to seeing the upcoming films. Anybody watching this too, and please follow us. Let us know for more. We'll keep you guys posted there. Show some support there. Check out these films. Support people like James. We've seen a lot of the actors we've had on. We're going to have some special effects people. Everybody's here in the same thing. They're all trying to do the same goal of creating a great brand, putting their content out there. And we are doing our part to help them as much as possible. And we hope you guys will be supportive as well. But James, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Again, we look forward to more. We'll be talking to you soon. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you want to come back with us very soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And for you guys watching at home, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here. Again, you can always catch rebroadcast. If you didn't see it live, it's available on YouTube. We're streaming on social media there as well. So check this out, share it, support. Again, check out more. We'll share the links for the films that James has there. Guys, give your support there. We appreciate that. But thank you very much for being here, you guys so much. Thank you. We'll have more great content coming out. We have a special coming out tomorrow night, so I hope you guys will tune in for that. And as you guys know, as always, we just love you guys very much. Whether you've been with us for a long time or just tuning in, we appreciate it. We love and support all kinds. So thank you all for being here. But Appreciate you all being here. Good night and goodbye for now. Of course, until next time, and as always, we say, we hope to see each and every one of you at the show. Ta-ta and ciao for now. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the What's Up Bro show. Catch all the latest live action on your favorite podcast streaming services, including Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more. You can also check out episodes on the studio's official YouTube channel. Subscribe and become a member today. Don't forget to also turn on notifications so you'll know when new content is uploaded. Stay tuned and don't miss a single moment. We love and appreciate all your support. And as always, we will see you at the show.